Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Joe Edwards. Still on a little break, Joe. But you've got to talk about new signings when they come, and they're coming thick and
Yeah,
fast this week. Looks like you're in a call centre somewhere as well, judging by your
I am.
headset. But
I
let's. I said I wouldn't mention that, so I won't. Let's move on to another signing. Another signing. This time in midfield, Vitinha has joined. Shock from Portugal, from Porto. Unbelievable scenes. What can you tell us about him, Joe?
I'm not going to pretend to be a complete brain box when it comes to this guy because kind of fits the bill, doesn't he? He's coming in, he's not a household name. But you can say that about pretty much every player, really, that's coming out of Fosun. And, their track record has been brilliant. So, fingers crossed he follows that trend. Young attacking midfielder, creative player, broke through into that Porto team earlier this year and turned a fair few heads. Portugal under 21, the international. Wolves have swooped for him. Loan, option to buy for around 18 million quid. So, seen as a good bit of business. I mean, you look at Jeff Shee's quotes saying he's, an integral part of the summer business and he could be a crucial player for Wolves. So there's obviously high hopes for this lad. Again, he's not played a lot of senior football, the same as Fabio Silva. But this approach of getting these young guns, these young players with, potentially very bright futures, is what Wolves are going for at the moment, and they're very much hoping it, pays dividends.
Yeah, and look, he's young, he's enthusiastic, he's obviously got a lot of talent, and it's risk free, isn't it? Alone, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we've seen the likes of Jota and Raul and Neves all come on these deals, on these loan deals. Willy Bolly, and it's worked out fantastically. So they've got a pretty good track record, Fosun and Wolves for making these deals permanent. And fingers crossed they can do just that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the loan to buy kind of era may have passed us by, but if you can use it, I mean, why not? I mean, Wolves have got nothing to lose really in this situation. I mean, it's allowed them to get Bruno Jordão out on loan to Famalicão as well, which is needed really. He's a player that needs games. There's no point him just kicking his heels doing nothing at Compton. So he's able to get out, and you're getting a player in here who could be amazing. I mean, we just don't know yet. I mean, he might not turn out to be what he's cracked out to be, and if he's not, then Wolves won't sign him permanently. But they've got that option. About 18 million quid is what we understand it to be, and that's pretty much the going rate, isn't it, these days for any half decent player? So they've got. They've done a fair bit of business this last week, and they've ticked a fair few boxes. I think a lot of people will say, and rightly so, that a right wing back is still needed, but they've got a midfielder in, they've got a defender, centre back / left back in, and they've got a striker in. It's been a pretty good week's business. Yes, they're unknowns. Marcel's have got more of a track record, but they very much fit the brief. So fingers crossed they all turn out to be successes at Molineux.
Vitinha, attacking central midfielder, I guess, is where he can play. So, they've signed a second striker. They've signed someone who could potentially play in that hole or play ahead of the likes of Dendoncker, Neves and Moutinho. Is there a slight movement here to change formation, or at least have the option of changing formation, midway through a game if things aren't working out with Silva and with Vitinha now coming in?
I think these signings really kind of lend itself to 3-5-2 and it being used more often, and perhaps even changing formation within games. I mean, we have seen 3-5-2 a lot of times anyway, but the kind of the problem was with it having that midfield three. Yes, then Donker, Coutinho and Neves are a great midfield three, but there's not really one in there that you could class as an attack-minded midfielder, a purely kind of, somebody who's verging towards a number 10. And, this Vitinha is kind of more of that scope. I mean, we've talked about Gibbs Weiss a lot before. He didn't really step up as much as Wolves wanted him to. So he's gone out on loan, Jordão's gone out, and Vitinha comes in and hopefully bridges that gap between, midfield and attack. Fabio Silva comes in. Yes, we don't expect him to pretty much start every game yet. I mean, at least I don't. I mean, we'll see. But he can come in to be a partner of Jimenez up front, or if Jimenez wants a rest, then perhaps Jota and Silva up front, or something like that. I think looking in those attacking areas now, Wolves are really well stocked. I mean, you got to remember Daniel Pedensi's still around, and Pedro Neto, and they're looking pretty good in attack, and it is exciting. Fingers crossed to get the wing back sorted soon, but to be fair, we're not expecting anything before Sheffield United on Monday.
No, and like you say, you mentioned Sheffield United on Monday. This is going to be the squad now that will go to Sheffield United, and these will be the players that you have got to pick from. I guess the main concern, of course, like you say, is right wing back and who plays there. We'll talk more about that on the podcast on Friday, Joe, but we're not expecting too much more this week, are we? This is going to be now Nuno with his players. Okay, this is my squad. Let's get ahead. Let's get a good weekend of training ahead of a big game and a difficult game against Sheffield United, with Nuno due to speak to the media tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the international players will just be kind of returning to Compton today, or perhaps even tomorrow, so that they've not really got a lot of time to prepare for Sheffield United. The good thing about getting the Silva and Marcel deals done over the weekend is that they've pretty much had a full week to kind of get bedded in and know what it's about. You'd imagine Marcel would be the more match-ready player just because of his track record and playing in the Champions League and various different European leagues. You'd imagine he'll slot straight in. But yeah, it's this is the time there that Wolves have, they're getting ready for the crunch time, the beginning of the season again. Yes, we would like to have another wing back in, but I think Traoré is probably the man who's going to be filling in there early on, and perhaps we could see a bit of an evolution of that role. I mean, we'll touch on it more in the podcast, but maybe this right wing back role doesn't have to be kind of seen as such a defensive role. I mean, we saw Sevilla recently. Their fullbacks, they play in a defensive four, but they're constantly in the final third. So, maybe you can get away with playing Traoré as a wing back and not really changing his approach and the way he plays the game. So we'll see how it pans out. But I think Wolves have got more business to do. I don't think they're done. Maybe one or two more, but it's certainly been a good week, and I think the mood, amongst fans and amongst the squad and Nuno himself will be more positive.
Signings, press conferences tomorrow, podcasts, games on Monday. Can't wait. It's all starting again, Joe. Well, I can wait. It'd be nice if we could have a couple of weeks off, but bring on the season. Things are starting to shape up, and follow us at expressandstar.com for all the latest news.